I'm going to talk about converting decimals to fractions and converting fractions to decimals. I'll assume that you know the basics of decimals. I'll also assume that you know how to do long division with respect to decimals. Okay? If you don't know one or both of those topics, I would invite you to watch my videos on one or both of those topics. All right, so let's first discuss converting decimals to fractions. Remember that a decimal is just shorthand for a fraction where the denominator is a power of 10. So for every decimal, you can find a fraction that has a denominator that's a power of 10, okay, to convert it to. And then you may have to reduce that fraction. You may not have to, but that's the starting point, okay? So, for example, 0.3 is equal to 3 over 10. 0.41 has two numbers to the right of the decimal, so we're going to use 100 for the denominator for that example. Okay? And 0.671 has three numbers to the right of the decimal, so we're going to use 1000 for the denominator. Okay? And if we have a number greater than 1, okay, we can still convert it to a fraction easily. So, for example, 2.97, we can put the 2 aside and convert the 0.97 to 97 over 100. Okay, and then from there, if you like, you can turn that into an improper fraction if desired. Okay, but that's the starting point for numbers greater than 1. Now, let's discuss converting fractions to decimals. So, you're going to want to reduce the fraction first, if you can, if necessary. And then you're going to want to convert it to a decimal using long division. So for 3 over 4, you would divide 4 into 3. And so that would give 0.75. So that's the decimal that is equivalent to 3 over 4. Okay, another example, 1 over 8. So divide 1 into 8, or excuse me, divide 8 into 1. Always the denominator into the numerator. Okay, and so that will give 0.125. All right. Now, you won't always get a long division problem that ends, that terminates. Okay, sometimes you will get in a pattern that'll keep going on and on forever. For example, 1 over 9. So we divide 9 into 1, and 9 goes into 10 one time. Drop down to 0, we get 10 again. And so you can see that we will keep getting ones over and over again in the answer. Okay, so for those types of decimals, you can either truncate it, you can round to whatever is the desired accuracy, needed accuracy, or you can use the notation where you put a bar over the part that is repeating. Okay, so for example, for 1 over 9, you can express the equivalent decimal as 0.1 with a bar over it. Okay? Now, let's have you do a couple of conversions for practice. So, would you please convert the following three decimals to a fraction? 0.8, 0.991, and 56.71. Pause the video and do that now, please. Okay, I'll go ahead and work these out also. So 0.8 is equal to 8 over 10. That can be reduced to 4/5. All right, so that's the best I can do for the answer. 0.991, that's equal to 991 over 1,000. And that cannot be reduced, so we'll leave the answer that way. For the last example, I'll put the 56 aside, and then 0.71 is equal to 71 over 100. So that one ends up being a mixed fraction. All right. Now, let's have you convert some fractions to decimals. Would you please convert the following fractions? 7 over 10, 5 over 6, and 114 over 5. Go ahead and pause the video again and try to do those if you like. All right, so 7 over 10, that's 0.7. Okay, and you can get that from long division. From long division, you can also see that 5 over 6 is equal to 0.83 with a bar over the 3. Okay, let me go ahead and quickly show you that that's indeed what happens. So for 7 over 10, you immediately get the problem ending after the first subtraction. For 5 over 6, 6 goes into 58 times. Then we get a 3. Then we get another 3. Okay, so that now you can see the pattern. Okay, so that's why we have the bar over the 3. And then for 114 over 5, 5 goes into 110 evenly. It goes into 110 22 times. And so you have the remainder is the for if you try to divide 114 by 5, there's a remainder of 4. So 114 over 5 is equal to 22 and 4/5. Now we just have to deal with the 4/5. You can do long division, okay, or you can see that that's 4/5 is equal to 8/10 if you're very good at converting fractions with denominators that are powers of 10. You could maybe use that to get 0.8. If you didn't see that, we can just go ahead and divide 4 by 5, and you'll get 0.8 anyway. Okay, so therefore 22.8 is that answer.